Well, hello there, folks. DJ Burgstarre here, back with another tip of the day. So, today I want to do something fun. I want to create some vocals if I don't even have a singer from scratch on a Mac, not using any samples or any AI or anything. Just Ableton Live and my Mac. So, here's how I do it. What I'm going to do is just type in some text, and I'm going to use this as my lyrics. So first, I'm just going to bring up text editor here and write some text in here. And if I right click on it, I can see how that sounds.
Singing like a pro is commonplace these days. I love electronic music. Someone please pinch me. I must be dreaming.
All right, great. That's what I'm going to use for my lyrics. If you right click on text on a Mac, you can go all the way down here to services where it says add to music as a spoken track. So I'm going to hit that. And what that's going to do is create an AIFF sample file and just put it wherever you want it to. I'm going to put it on my desktop. And I guess I'll label it whatever. And of course, you can always choose your own voice. I've chosen this one. There's other accents or whoever you want to be speaking. And just hit continue. And it will put that file on your desktop. And on a Mac, it always wants to launch iTunes for some reason when you do this. So just quit iTunes. And once you have that file, you can just drag it over to your desktop here. Or I'm sorry, not your desktop. In Ableton Live. In an audio track as a sample there. And now I already did that earlier, so here it is. And let's just get this out of the way. And let's listen to it. I'm going to solo this track, and there's nothing on it just yet. A little EQ and stuff. We'll talk about that later. Okay, let's play this.
Singing like a pro is commonplace these days. I love electronic music. Someone please pinch me. I must be dreaming. Singing like...
All right, so she's talking, but it's not really, very melodic there, so it doesn't really sound like a vocal yet. So we're going to be using the vocoder to do this. And when we do this, hopefully we can come out with something that sounds like a person singing. Just a disclaimer at first, this would be best for sort of electronic music, EDM, techno, rave, trance, dubstep. I wouldn't try and be getting like real creamy pop sort of style vocals you're going to hear on the radio with this. So anyway, let's just hear a sample of what I've done, and then I'll explain it. I'm going to turn on the vocoder, and then we'll explain what it did.
Singing like a pro is commonplace these days. I love electronic music. Someone please pinch me. I must be dreaming.
So you can hear there that all of a sudden that sounds like music. So we're on the right track. So how I did this is first you have to, I'm going to put the vocoder itself on the track with the vocal sample. Here's the vocoder here. And first you have to set this to the carrier to external, and then you need to pick the track you want this signal coming from. And I set up a wavetable with some chord pattern on it. And the reason I'm using this wavetable instrument is because it's very lush and it covers sort of the whole frequency range when I play a chord, all the way down to like 80 hertz up to, 15,000 hertz. It really covers that spectrum, because when you're working with your vocoder here, you can see that right now I've got the range set at, anywhere from 11,000 kilohertz down to, it goes down to 20, but she's not singing that low. So, I don't want it to be looking down there for frequencies. So we'll put it down at like 130 to 11,000. So that's the range it's going to look for a signal. And let's explain a little bit more about this here. So what I put on this track was just a MIDI, very simple MIDI chord progression. On this whole track, I just have some drums as well. And let's look at this wavetable. Let's look at this vocoder again. And to get this to sound as human-like as possible, you can come down here to the bands, and basically the less bands you're using, the less quality. Lower the number, lower the quality. So if you're trying to get it to sound as human as possible, you use the highest band you can. And I've set it to precise. Now, some of these controls are a little bit vague. I've tried to figure them out, but I figured that this depth control, if I turn it down a bit, things sound a little bit brighter, and I can hear the S's and some of that high frequency I want in somebody's vocal. And the same thing down here with the attack. If it actually defaults way down here to 1. But when I do that, it just seems to be bringing out all the lows, and for some reason, when you pull this up here, it starts to have more human characteristics. So I've left it, pulled that up a bit there. This formant control almost makes it sound more like a male and female when you pull it up and down. And I'll show you how that sounds once we get it playing. And so let's, I've also, just with the pen here, drawn, it was up here like this, but I want to get rid of some of these low frequencies because it is a vocal after all, and I don't need anything below 60 hertz, for this thing to be trying to figure out. So I've turned this will turn the volume down on these bands of frequency ranges here. So I've turned that down a little bit, and then of course on the whole track I put a little compression, a little limiter so I'm not peaking too much, and an EQ where I've kind of boosted some of the highs to try and get that human voice out of this instrument. So the chord, she's going to follow the chord progression here. And like I said, I use this wavetable because it's lush and it's got all the frequencies in it. If you try to use an instrument that was just sort of very narrow band, that just wah, 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 like some real cheesy melody thing, it doesn't really work. I've tested that a couple times. It really needs some sort of full sound in order for this to get going. So that's why I've used these lush chords. So let's play this. First of all, let's just hear what it sounded like without it again. Yeah, we'll play that.
Singing like a pro is commonplace these days. I love electronic music. Someone please pinch me. I must be dreaming.
But, that's just her talking. So let's hear what it sounds like when I turn the vocoder on. I've also muted the track that actually has this big lush pad here because it's kind of too much. Right now I've just added a little piano that does the same chord pattern just so we can hear what this is doing for now. This may be not the type of song I would actually use this on if I was really working on a real track, but for demonstration purposes we've just got this little piano so we can hear this vocoder coming in on this lyrics here. Here we go.
Singing like a pro is commonplace these days. I love electronic music. Someone please pinch me. I must be dreaming. Singing like a pro is commonplace these days. I love electronic music. Someone please pinch me. I must be dreaming. Singing like a pro is commonplace these days. I love electronic music. Someone please pinch me. I must be dreaming. Singing like a pro is commonplace these days. I love electronic music. Someone please pinch me. I must be dreaming. Singing like a pro is commonplace these days.
So there you have it. I've just got my Mac and Ableton, and I'm able to create some vocals without using any samples or having a live singer here. Although this vocoder can do that. You can set your own voice coming in live as you're talking or even singing, and it can go through this vocoder as well. You can also take somebody that kind of didn't sing very well in your studio and put this vocoder on and maybe turn the dry wet knob down, so you're just using a little bit of it to help them out. I will say there's some third-party plugins that kind of do this a little better. They have a lot more controls and sort of a lot of presets that you can kind of choose from. So you don't have to get in here and dial everything in yourself, which is kind of nice. But if you just have Ableton and a Mac, you can accomplish this. And again, let's launch this text editor. So, here you can have a lot more text. You can, have full lyrics of a song. And of course, this is just a loop, 4 bars. But, if you've got a 10-minute song, you can have a lot of vocals here. And using just this text to speech and then throwing the vocoder on it, here we go. We almost have a track. So let's play it a little more.
Singing like a prayer is commonplace these days. I love electronic music. Someone please pinch me. I must be dreaming. Singing like a prayer is commonplace these days. I love electronic music. Someone please pinch me. I must be dreaming. Singing like a prayer is commonplace these days. I love electronic music. Someone please pinch me. I must be dreaming. Singing like a prayer is commonplace these days.
So playing with this format knob, you can see that you can kind of get that almost to sound like a male rather than a female.
I love electronic music. Someone please pinch me. I must be dreaming. Singing like a prayer is commonplace these days. I love electronic music. Someone please pinch me. I must be dreaming. Singing like a prayer is commonplace these days. I love electronic music. Someone please pinch me. I must be dreaming.
So there you have it, my tip of the day. How to write lyrics when you don't even have a singer. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys next time. DJ Burgstarre out.